Oh my god, they've done it. The beautiful snow. Look at the leaf blocks. I'm in awe. I'm on the floor. I'm shaking. I can't believe it. The snow layers with the small dusting snow particles. It gently drifts and caresses the leaf block laying beneath it, ever so smoothly, moving closer and closer to its final resting position, the floor. I start my week by opening Minecraft. I spawn inside snowy biome, and this is the very first thing that I see. Oh my god, I don't think it's new, but it kind of all reminds me of what they were recently cooking with these pale leaves. You know, that leaf drifting down to the ground mechanic? Wow, that's stunning. Make that on all versions, please. Beautiful drifting leaves, a brand new item, upgrade, a couple more other changes, and even potentially a secret brand new event coming soon. What do they all have in common? Oh, that's easy. This week's preview. How you doing, besties? This is me, Waddles. Double check, make sure you're subscribed. Most of you watching this video probably aren't, and let's dive in. I want to kick today's video off in a slightly unexpected way. Months ago, it was all the rage. The community had a burning fire inside of it for shaders, or in other words, deferred rendering. Then, a couple months later, it's all creaky, and more importantly, it's all silent. What in the world happened to deferred rendering, and where is it, when is it done? Not technically inside of this week's preview, but adjacent to it, we have a brand new update regarding deferred rendering. So this was from one of those top secret Demojang discords. We haven't had much to share in the changelogs as of late, unfortunately, but rest assured we are cooking. And then in a response to the question, deferred is finished, I didn't say that. I said most of the work is optimizations now. And this is some of the greatest spicy news of all time. If most of the work is optimizations, well, clearly from the looks of this message, it's not finished, but if we're mainly focusing on optimizations, it's probably getting closer to being done than closer to beginning. You have to remember that the story with deferred rendering kind of takes us back to some point last year when all of this kicked off inside of the previews. And the conclusion, absolutely not finished, but maybe getting closer. Definitely not coming inside of the creaking update, but maybe hopefully coming sometime next year. Actions and stuff better hurry up. Throwing things back to a couple of weeks ago, yes, the update with the bravest bundles of all time. Of course, the bundles of bravery drop. This update mainly focused on, well, to be honest, a whole bunch of things. But at least in namesake, this update, it was locked in on the bundle. At last being added to the game after 4 years. After being sort of locked in development for 4 years, eventually the bundle would make it to the snapshot. You know how it went. We were here together. It was a beautiful moment. After a couple final weeks of bundle changes, adjustments, and fixes, voila, just like that, the bundle would be finished being cooked up. How it looks on Minecraft Java Edition right now. It's something like this. It's wide. It's a bundle-y. You can put items in it. You can scroll and select, but maybe those items sometimes, maybe say if those items are a little bit darker and you put them in a bundle, well, they don't really exactly stand out the best, do they? On Minecraft Bedrock Edition, right now, it all begins the same. Diet the best color in the world, then go out on a great wide world adventure to find all of the items you could ever dream of putting inside of your bundle. This is gonna floor you, because as I start to load up this bundle now inside of this latest update, the brand new snapshot, we'll take a look at it. Oh my God, take a look at it. They had 4 years to polish this bundle, finish it up, make sure it's nice and set for a full release so they don't gotta touch it again. And well, gang, we're back at it. We're working on the bundle again with a brand new update, and I think this thing is so beautiful looking. Look at the items inside of the bundle. They now have their own little item icon highlight slot, if you will, which kind of just makes sense. If you compare the bundle to every other inventory in the game, say a simple grid like this one here, well, of course, we actually have a proper grid. Meanwhile, the bundle last week, or Java right now, it was just floating items into an abyss of bundle nothingness. Wow, I didn't see this coming. I thought the bundle was surely just about finished up, but yet again, we have a new change. Now, everything else about the bundle, like functionally, gameplay-wise, is exactly the same. The only change here is an aesthetic change, but wow. What do you think? Do you like this new bundle, or does it kill the vibe? I feel like this one might be a little bit divisive, right? Zooming things out to take a look at the bigger picture for a second here. This week's preview, last week's preview, whatever week's preview, 1.21.50.28, it still continues in the 1.21.50 saga. Now, conventional knowledge about how number systems work, 1.50.28, if each week goes up by one number, then that means we have 0.29. Then, are we done? Is there only one preview left for the creaking update and then it will release? Well, I had to break it to you, or love to, but no. So here's the interesting thing. Usually every week's preview goes up in number by 1. So right here we have 20. However, right after that, we went all the way up to 24 because there were some interesting weird bugs with the early creaking previews. In the past, for other updates, say 1.20, 1.20, 30, or 40, the previews usually only tick up to about 0.25. Then we would roll over to the next version, and 2 or so weeks later, the next release would release. In this case, my guess here is, unless the creaking update is actually finished and we're upon a release date that will happen before the end of November, and maybe in the meantime we're just going to be done creaking with everything and roll over into the next drop, whatever that might be. Well, I fully believe for this preview cycle, we're not going to see an end of this preview in the 20s. I see it as very likely that we could see 1.21, 0.50, 0.31 or something like that for the future previews. Now, release dates are probably a different and slightly larger talk for another time, so keep it in mind. Maybe we'll circle around. But for now, leaves. So in Minecraft right now, we actually have 11 different types of leaves. These are all different types of leaves that you'll be able to find generating around your world in various situations. Now, at least to me, a leaf block, this is just kind of how it looks. It's a semi-transparent block with a little bit of leaf texturing going on. I always forget that there's actually another type of leaf in the game. Sliding into our settings, tapping on video, and scrolling down until eventually we see a toggle called fancy leaves. Well, if I go ahead and flick this off, every single leaf block is going to be changed. And whoa, this is insane looking to me. Like when I make these preview videos, I jump into the preview, mess around with the things that I'll be checking out inside of the video a little bit first, you know, get the ropes, the hang of things here. And wow, when I first saw this was insane looking to me. The brand new leaf right here, the creaking leaf. Well, I mean, the true big change here is the fact that mangrove leaves now have a dedicated texture for fancy leaves, and then we also have a couple of strange leaf bug fixes. But oh my god, look at all of these leaves. That brand new leaf texture right here, that's going to be the mangrove leaf. It's like drippy and solid looking, but wow, all of these different leaf blocks right here, they look so actually good. And an interesting thing that I noticed here from taking a deep look at these leaves, the dark oak leaf and the plain old and normal oak leaf. In normal survival, I always thought these were exactly the same leaf, but placing them side by side right here, you can clearly see that logically, of course, yes, the dark oak leaf is the lighter leaf out of these two. Meanwhile, the oak leaves right there, they get a little bit darker. Oh, it blew my mind. They still blend together so well, by the way. I still on that note of leaves, over to the local pale garden biome. Okay, this isn't really much of a garden. It's not very pale at all, but I guess it'll kind of do. They gotta fix this. A subtle change that has now since been removed, so I can't even show you it, but the dev should have brought more shine to it. I don't think a single soul noticed. On the changelog right here, the orientation of the pale oak leaves texture is no longer randomized for each block. What? You mean to tell me that we're adding random detail? Alright, so over on Minecraft Java Edition, where not a single changelog has had any mention of this feature, if we take a close look at the leaves right here, it looks to be a pretty similar grid. Like everything is just repeated and repeated and repeated. No randomization at all. This makes me wonder if this was a feature Java even ever had at all, but leaf randomization, I mean, I guess I'd never really noticed it. But does that mean we would have had random orientation of the leaf direction and which way it was going? Because that sounds like it would have been fire. Why did they kill that feature? I don't think anyone even knew about it. I'm sad, but I don't know if I should even be sad. Am I interpreting it correctly? I have no clue. But unfortunately, how things work, I believe all old previews are now lost media, and I could never check it out even if I wanted to. I'm so sad. Moving on to help me and maybe you cheer up a little bit after that terrible disaster. The Fortune Axe. What if I told you after years and years of waiting, it actually now kind of has a proper use. So to check this one out, all we need to do is find ourselves an axe of any type, give it the Fortune enchantment, maybe Fortune 3 to max things out, a beautiful name, of course, and then the middle of the night over at the local creaking biome. So I don't even know if we're going to be able to check it out here. This biome has a total of like 4 trees, but we need to find ourselves a naturally generated and birthed creaking. There we go. That's a whole lot more like it. Only approximately 20,000 blocks from spawn. No big deal. Alrighty, so into the thick of it, moving around inside this biome, we need to find ourselves a naturally generated creaking, and about a minute into this biome, running around, dotting torches all over the landscape. I'm not... Oh, I speak too soon. As soon as I say it, I see not one but 2. Creaking. We go ahead and interact with you, find out that your tree is all the way over here. Now 2 of you, ladies, back in the line, please. Now the creaking heart. Previously, if I had mined this naturally generated one in survival with a plain old axe or an enchanted fortune axe, I would just get experience in no creaking heart law. Well, now everything has changed. If I use this Fortune 3 axe right here, check out what happens. I'm gonna mine that block with Fortune 3 and... Oh, there's no creaking heart. Absolutely not. But instead, I just got myself a little bit of resin, boys. How it's gonna work now when you mine a creaking heart block. If you use a normal axe, well, you get a little bit of experience, but you also get a tiny bit of resin. And a Fortune 3 axe should, in theory at least, increase the amount of resin that is dropping when a creaking heart block is mined. Now, is it maybe a smarter idea to just silk touch that creaking heart, bring it back home, and use it to farm infinite resin? Yeah, sure, maybe. But I mean, hey, not everyone was really critically thinking about this new update. You just want to have a little bit of fun, right? Let them live. The sounds. It's becoming a staple inside of these changelogs, but yet again, inside of this week's preview, the sound amount has been a parity match for Java for the Give It Up for day number 703 of parity matching to Java Edition, the creaking update sounds. I don't know, moving around in here. I mean, I guess it sounds good. Now, inside of this week's preview, we also had a couple of changes that we talked all about in last week's snapshot video. So if you didn't catch that one, check it out next. Specifically, we're talking about stuff with eye blossoms and such. So next up, rewinding things back to late this summer. Inside of the previews, mysteriously, a brand new bug, a glitch, weird feature thing was added. We talked about it in a couple of videos, but essentially, if you can remember, an update dropped immediately on day one. That update, players found on their screen a brand new mysterious button. If you tapped on this button, it was basically just like broken code. But for those of us who have been in the community, that button signifies a gigantic thing, and that thing, an event. At the time, we thought it was going to be the next mob vote, or at the bare minimum, the next server that would pop up around the time of Minecraft Live this year that would be able to check out and hang out leading up to the big event. But alas, no. Less than a day after that weird glitched button popped up in the game, for some players, the devs went ahead and patched it out. And then, after that Minecraft Live happened, there was no big event, there was no mob vote, and there was also no word on what's going on in the future. Well, Smoky Stag. Inside of the code for this most recent preview, something strange went down. So here we've got two colors. We have red, we have green. Anything that is red was removed inside of this week's preview. Anything that is green was added inside of this week's preview. So right off the bat, more additions than we have removals. But wait, there's more, because even more lines of code relating to Minecraft Live in the old event, well, that stuff was removed. Instead, these lines of code were changed with, instead of vote, now we have a live event. Instead of live is coming, we just have a live event. And then we have a brand new error message right here too for live event, which seems like a placeholder name, if anything. And the other lines of codes that we have here, we have Minecraft Live being removed and replaced with live event and join event. This all really makes me wonder about this whole creaking update and whatever is going to happen. They said it's going to release by the end of the year. Wouldn't it be kind of perfect to have an end of the year event? Maybe not only highlighting the creaking update, but perhaps everything else that they've added this year. The Bundles of Bravery drop, the Armored Paws drop, the Trial Chamber update, just all of it. Considering the fact that we're probably starting to get closer to the end of the previews for this update cycle too, I mean, it's all interesting. If there was going to be an upcoming event, and they didn't want this event to leak out to the public ahead of time, well, it would make sense to add that little bit of detail and information right before the end of the preview cycle. And keep in mind that these live events, they're usually pretty interesting. In the distant past, these events were used to vote on the next mob coming to the game. In the less distant past, these events were used to basically hand out capes. Now today, I hate to do it, but we're going to end in black and white, because unfortunately, we all kind of knew it was coming, but unfortunately, the day of reckoning, it is here, Slate. I look up Slate inside of this week's preview. Every single deep slate block, it shows up. Sure, it's beautiful, but I'm not in the mood for it. The Slate sign, the weird new sign, it's gone. They've been removed. Disappeared. All along, there was a side of us, the realism side of us, that knew this was simply a bug. But those of us hopeful among us here who really thought that maybe some kind of sign update would be on the way, but no, alas, no longer. Inside of the changelog, the Slate is no longer present in the creative inventory outside of Education Edition. I'm so sorry. Oh my god. It's so sad, really. At this point, the only thing you'll be able to do is make sure you're subscribed. If you're subscribed, you won't miss future update videos, and you'll stay nice and smiley, maybe even happy. Thank you all for watching this week's round of updates. If you found something secret, show it on the subreddit r/waddles. On the end card, a beautiful video in a playlist where you check it out. And hey, keep in mind, I just want to give it one more shout out that we've been doing a little bit of a live hardcore creaking update together on stream. It's really cool. If you have a chance, slide by the live sometime and check it out with me. It's super fun. The live is right here on YouTube on this channel. It's been me, Waddles, and I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone.